Hi everyone, Kevin Ikov here. Today I wanted to talk about how to develop and start a spiritual practice, a spiritual path. How to develop a strong spiritual path. What that entails. What does it mean to have a householder's path from either initially starting singly without a partner and then developing, finding someone and living with them and developing that spiritual life further and having children and all of that and continuing that spiritual life. Now that's a whole lot to put all into this one little video, but I'll try my best to quickly encapsulate it. But basically, with any path you follow, it doesn't matter what it is, you want to start with a strong foundation. That's my feeling. I basically started my spiritual path, or the spiritual path as a householder here in this world, in this lifetime, learning transcendental meditation. I still suggest learning meditation of some kind. You're certainly welcome to try transcendental meditation. I highly advise not to really get deeply involved into the organization itself, but that's up to you. There's certainly nothing wrong with learning mantra meditation. I offer things on here. All of it's free. You're certainly welcome to use it. It's here for all people to help them develop and design a spiritual path. Spiritual paths are designed by individuals on their own. There's no real major guidance to it other than the fact that, like in India, if you go and you do it, there's a guru that basically helps you develop that. Well, guru means teacher. Maybe a more elaborate teacher there. Some see the guru as the father, the mother, everything. I can say because I've spoken to Indian people directly, and they even tell me it's like 99% are not true gurus. They're trying to get something, they're manipulating you, they're showing you maybe siddha tricks, power tricks. They're manipulating things and leading you to think that they're more highly evolved than they are. And the thing is in developing a spiritual path, you want to start with a strong base. I suggest meditation of some sort. I suggest starting with, if bare minimum, at least 10 minutes, at least twice a day, and building that practice into an hour twice a day, if you can, if you have the time for it. The younger you are, you may have more time. You can devote your whole day to doing practice. I used to be laid off from like Christmas till Easter. I worked as a plumber initially, and every year I got laid off during that period of time. That's just how it was. And during that period of time, I did deep, strong spiritual practice involving hatha yoga, involving strong pranayama practice that actually took over an hour, maybe hour and a half to do the entire breathing practice. It basically cleansed the nerve channels. I did this from a very young age. I devoted a lot of time to these things. I read the book, the complete illustrated book of yoga, and I followed that because there weren't yoga studios anywhere to be found at that time. And so I read these things in a book, and that book led me to other books, and the same with all the other books that I found, like Be Here Now, Autobiography of a Yogi. These are all the books I initially began with, and because there was nothing around, these became my teachers, and there was no internet. It was only going to a small bookstore that just happened to have some spiritual books in that particular private small bookstore. That's what led me down the spiritual path, and I started it probably around 15, 16, 15 really, and I've been meditating ever since. I've met all kinds of gurus, all types of swamis, all types of meditators, all types of different people teaching sound therapy, teaching crystal therapy, teaching all kinds of things, and went on a major exploration in discovering these things, mainly to heal myself, because I became ill from the first Persian Gulf War. And so I developed a strong spiritual practice, but had a family life. I started as a young boy. I started with meditation, like I'm saying, around 15, 16, and continued to develop that. I did the same things every other child does or teenager does at that time as well, and young adult. I hung out at bars, I drank beer, I lived a regular life. There were, at that time, there was a lot more bars on the corner than there were yoga studios. Actually, there were no yoga studios then anywhere. And I did live up in the Pocono area, and I would travel to this one place that there was this ashram there, and I would practice with them. And I believe they were from the Shambhala organization or something, I can't quite remember. But I did yoga with them all the time and practice at their studio, and I would travel up there and even stayed there at their property a couple times. Anyhow, so the foundation first, then all the different steps and stages of developing. If you're doing a yoga practice, doing it that way. If you're doing it more like the path of the monk, it involves more prayer throughout the day, in addition to a meditation. And trust me, monks and nuns and priests all do some type of meditation. So, Jesus meditated. I'm not sure, like I've heard people say that's, he wasn't in a meditation, he didn't cross his legs. Trust me, if he was sitting somewhere, there wasn't chairs and this and that, he sat on the ground, he sat cross-legged. Just the natural way to sit, what can I say? And I'm sure if he closed his eyes and went inwardly, which I'm sure he did do that, he experienced a profound innerness. And so to develop this path, you must start with a strong foundation and then develop from there. What unfolds, unfolds. But the consistency of staying and doing the meditation, which is the primal piece, that's what you need to continue no matter what else you do throughout the day, throughout your life. It will alter and change you and reshape you just from doing the meditation itself. And I suggest a good third eye meditation, strong third eye meditation. And I suggest, like I said, starting it with at least 10 minutes, build into an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day, once in the morning, once at night. As you start to raise a family, it will change and alter. But as you develop a habit and a practice of that habit, you'll stay more consistent in doing it. And so that's the first thing to start with. Then if you want to start with a nice hatha practice, hatha yoga being the actual physical postures, and develop that further, and develop more into the pranayama, the breathing section of that. The pranayama is very, very powerful. It can take you upwards very, very fast. You have to be prepared for some of those emotional changes that will happen to you when you do strong pranayama. But if you have the time, I'm sure, go for it. If you can do an hour of pranayama a day in addition to the meditation, and that's what I used to do. I did an hour of pranayama before I went into the meditation itself at one point in time, early on in my practice when I had the chance. When I had children in that, it changed. I had no time at all to meditate, but I got up super early in the morning, and I'm a nurse. I did 12-hour shifts at one time. I worked night shift for like 15 years. So, I got up at strange times, but I would get up super early to meditate. And when I had children, before they got up, I'd do an hour. And then, as my practice changed when I had the children, I wouldn't be able to do my evening practice until like almost close to midnight. But I would try to do it like 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Anyhow, that's kind of how it was when you have children. Like, they take up your life, but you still got to consistently do the practice. And I have to say, in the 50 years I've been doing it, I seldom missed sitting down and doing a meditative practice. That's the most basic. That's the base. And then everything you build from there is sort of, you build the yogic practice to stay healthy and well, keep the body in good shape. That's what yoga is about. That's what that hatha yoga piece is about. It's about keeping that body slim, trim, developed, the muscles strong. It's gotten me out of a lot of tough jams where I wasn't doing well, and I just rebuilt that part. The cellular memory is there. It just reshapes the body. The body already knows from you doing it. And so if you do an early on hatha practice, your cellular memory will know that. It will remember even the pranayama. And the most essential part of it is to know the yamas and the niyamas, because if you don't pick one of those to study and enhance and develop, and you only have to really pick one of them, just master one of them. Because if you master one of them, you'll end up knowing all of them. And I suppose, to me, I mastered observation. I mastered the ability to observe. And, I worked as a psych nurse anyway, so it was easier for me to do that. It came natural to me. So what I'm saying is develop what comes natural to you. Make that your spiritual path. You have to design it yourself. You have to develop it yourself. You have to decide, you don't ever try to start at the end and trying to do, cleansing the nerve channels. You build up to that. Probably took me 2 years before I ended up able to do that for a whole hour like that of pranayama. So before I went into the meditation. And so the thing is I had some deep, profound experiences throughout those 50 years. I've shared some of those experiences through some of the videos here, some of the things that happened to me. And so I came from a family in which we initially had money. We made uniforms for all the soldiers during the Second World War. And then because of the imports to the garment industry, lost everything, went bankrupt. We didn't have anything. And my father kind of went from job to job, and we really didn't have very much money. And so we were fairly poor. And we went from a family that had some kind of money and income, and then all of a sudden, it was very difficult. And we had to make do. And so the only way I really had a spiritual life and developed spiritual life was through the reading of the books that I did. And, in the Be Here Now book, in the back of that, there's, he lists so many books. Dr. Richard Alpert lists so many books in the back of that book. Ram Dass. He lists so many names of other books to read to guide you on a spiritual path. You can have a spiritual journey right here in the United States. You don't have to go anywhere. The wonderful Hanuman temple there in Taos. There's other wonderful Hindu temples throughout the United States. You could design your own little tours right here. You don't have to go anywhere. That's if you want to go that route. Same thing is true of the other religions. Judaism, Christianity. I'm not telling you to follow a Hinduistic path, certainly that you may think is Hinduistic. I really have no religion. It's about knowing. Spirituality is about knowing. And you have a direct experience. That's how you know. And so, if you reach your heart out to God, and it is definitely through your heart, God will reach back to you. It's about the love of God, and finding that love, and knowing that love, experiencing that love, and hopefully sharing that love with humanity, because that's what it's really all about. Because if you love God, you love the creation and will share it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm sharing what I know. And hopefully you will donate to humanity in the best way you know. Just don't give to some organization that you don't know about. Check them out. Make sure they are who they say they are. Make sure the donations are majorly going to the people, not the administration. Give to the soup kitchens. Give to your local places. Give to your communities first. Give to your locals. There's a lot of homeless people in this world. Give locally. Help out the poor. Help out those in need locally. Help humanity. Help your fellow man. Help your neighbor. You see somebody out there in trouble, help them. You do have to be careful these days. A lot of crooks out there. So you do have to sort of have your spidey senses, so to speak, aware and about you, so you know. But always be careful. Always protect yourself. Always stay safe. And I wish everyone a good day. I hope this helps guide you in some ways. It's about consistency of practice. So once you become a meditator, once you have a yoga practice, even hatha yoga practice, consistency. You know, you may go to a yoga studio 3 times a week, say that's your practice. And that's a practice. I'm not saying that's not a practice. That's a start. So wherever you are, you're at the start of it. But what I'm saying is this is the way to develop that spiritual part. Have a strong foundation and build from that. Read, develop things. Don't get involved in the money aspect of it so much. Do it for yourself, for your heart. And the only way you can open that heart is to let go of all the nonsense in the world, all the thinking nonsense. And basically all your thinking nonsense, all your thoughts are nonsense. Even if you think they're good, it's all nonsense. Let go of your thoughts. Learn the love of God. Learn the knowledge of God. Learn to become a saint in this world by learning the love of God. I've left many little techniques and things here for people to discover and use. It's up to them. You don't want to use them, that's fine. You want to use them, that's fine. It's all up to you. So hopefully this helps people out there. I wish everyone a blessed day, a saintly day. And this is about realizing the path of saints. The path to open your heart. The path to open your awareness to what is here. And live as the servant. Live in oneness. And realizing all of them, all religions, all of the things that people are trying to do, even the spirituality, it's all one. There's no division in it. Doesn't matter which one you go to, but go to good ones. Go to the ones that'll say to you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one you go to. It's about developing and opening the heart. When you can develop and open your heart to God, and some gurus will say, open the heart to me first. And you can do that. And that guru has to be a very trusting guru that really will take you to God. And the thing is that's what you're given over. So what I'm saying is be very, very careful. Very, very careful who you give your heart over to. I've always given my heart over to the Supreme. Always. Very, very careful who I bow down to here, because that's what it says. Only bow down to the one, the only, the Supreme that lies within. And so I wish everyone a blessed, profound day. May you all have a glorious day. May you all be well and healthy. And may you all be able to design and develop the spiritual path that you want. My blessings to you. Namaste. Jai Bhagwan. May we all see and develop the light within each other. May we all be one.